Well, welcome to the Boise River, friends. This is a 102-mile-long tributary to the 789-mile-long Snake River. I thought this would be a perfect setting to reveal the finished boutique campervan project I've been talking about. The Boise River, by the way, does literally wind right through the city of Boise, and in the summertime it's a real playground. There's several areas, though, on the river where it kind of breaks off into these different little stream areas, and that's what I found here today. One of those little streams created by the Boise River. And it's a beautiful, bright, clear, warm day here. So we're going to set up our camper van right here. What do you think? Pretty nice, huh? Of course, the camper van craze has been going on for some time now. Mostly what you see these days is the camper vans are built with the transit type vans sitting on Ford chassis, a lot of Mercedes chassis. But there's still a cohort of us who have created their vans out of the old E-Series cargo vans. And like I say, there's a whole cohort of those folks. Ford themselves, the factory, manufactured forms of camper vans too. What I like, and what I've found is our camper van people are very creative. They build their vans according to their lifestyles, to what they like, their design preferences. And there's a bunch of them, believe me. Take a look at this. And I kind of fell into more of the boutique, a little more plush type of a camper van. And again, I'm using my E250, the same van I drove for 42 years, hauling equipment around from location to location. And this van here is in excellent condition, mostly because I take the time to wax it from top to bottom at least 6 times a year. And mostly because it does sit out mostly in the open. I have added some new wheels and beauty rims and hubs. For the camper van, I added shore power, of course, you got to have that. And I added running boards. That's really the only thing I've done to the exterior of the van. On the inside of the cab, the only thing I've done is I upholstered the cab side of the factory installed crash cage. Really dolled that up a whole lot. And of course it's like a silence deadener, and it creates a little bit better environment for heat and cooling. This camper van, or this van, also came with factory installed electronic deadbolts. If the bad guys pop the regular locks, they still can't get into the main cargo area because of those deadbolts. Because it is such a nice sunny, bright day, warm, let me show you the camper van awning I found some time ago. Very clever design. Consists basically of 3 poles, all spring-loaded poles, 2 real long ones, you'll see why they're long here in a minute, and a shorter one, and 2 suction cups. Once you get those 2 long poles snapped together, the awning itself is not a plastic. It's not just cloth. It's like a metallic cloth. It's got that shiny finish to it, so it's reflecting the sun, which is nice. But those 2 long poles go corner to corner in these pockets that are already in there. And then really nice, they have these snaps that snap the entire length of those poles into that inside part of the cover. But this is it sitting on the ground. And there's my suction cups. All you do is simply lift it right up on top of the van. And then with the throw of a lever, you attach one suction cup to that side, walk over to the other side, and using these adjustable tent poles, you got yourself a camper van awning. The tent poles can be extended full height, which is 7 feet, or you can take sections out all the way down to show where that section right there is sitting on the ground, so it's like a tent. I especially like the zippered window. I don't know why, I just like it. Look at my view out my window today. Pretty nice, huh? Yeah. Now, it works really well. And I have had it up in some fairly stiff wind, and it's as solid as a rock. Pretty nice. I like the look of it, too. Like I said, this build actually started with me literally cutting a hole in the very top of the van. That's where they all start, and that's for your Max Air fan, which I'll get to here in a little bit. Then it was a matter of framing all the walls. And you got to understand, there's not a straight line in one of these camper vans. If you want to get into more detail on how I framed it, take a look at camper van project video. The fun stuff was doing the walls and doing both the driver's side and passenger side cabinets. Here's the passenger side, I guess you call it cabinet, storage bins, whatever. This is one that houses the electrical. Get back to that too in a minute. But once I had both passenger and driver's side cabinets built, and I went ahead and installed them, then I thought I'd better test my wiring, so I went ahead and did my feature wall, lighting wall, and tested that all out. I then moved into building the two-sided kitchen sink cabinet. I'll show you why it's two-sided here in a little bit. This houses my water supply, and I'll show you that here in just a little bit. Most of these camper reveals start at the back side of the camper, and they call that the garage. Now, what I noticed in all the videos that I viewed before I built mine is the garage has become just more of a clutter area where they shove everything, including the kitchen sink, in the back side of that. Although there were some, clever designs too, I wanted my garage to be clean, neat, and simple. That's the whole idea. I did have to, by the way, insulate the doors like I did the inside, and I had to create these new door panels. And again, not simple because not a straight line of the bunch. It was scribe and rescribe and cut and rescribe until they fit perfect. Really, the last thing that I actually built for the van, what actually completed, what I say completed the camper van, did about 3 weeks ago, and that's my kitchen drawer. I'm using 2 sets of 100-pound lockable drawer glides. The main drawer houses everything I'll possibly need for any kind of cooking that I might want to do. And it has this slide-out tray also with a heat pad on it. That's for when I want to cook outside. And I use 2 of these beautiful butane single-burner cookers. When you're all done with the cooking for the night, everything locks right into position. It travels beautiful. But I wanted that real clean look. On each side, I did include a couple of little, I guess you say, cuddy bins to house whatever. That bottom one there is going to be my tools. Over on the opposite side, and the bottom one, that's a pretty important cuddy. That's the deep cycle battery that controls all the DC power. And above that, another little cubby area. And here's a look inside the main cabin from the back side of the van. Very spacious. Look at that locker again. See the shape of the back? Very pleasant. Of course, I had to add my sculptures also. So here's your main entrance. When you open up the sliding door, I included mini LED step lights. Every time the sliding door is open, these lights come on. They'll stay on for, I believe, 7 minutes, then they fade out. So we're looking at both the main locker and the kitchen sink cabinet. I said this is two-sided. On this side of the kitchen sink cabinet, in that door there, this is where the water system is housed. I'm using 2 3-gallon water containers, I guess you'd call them. This front one is your fresh water. It supplies the faucet. The back one there, that's for your gray water. There's the water pump. And boy, what a job I had to find the right proper water pump for this thing. I did stumble on these great quick release adapters right here. When it's time to fill that, you just lift up on that, everything pops open. The sink itself is a 15-inch stainless steel deep sink. Matches that beautiful modern kitchen faucet. Then we can move right into the main locker. This was a good design. Like I say, it was a nightmare to build. That was a lot of scribing, cutting again. But I ended up with a 5-shelf system. Nice size shelves. That's the smallest. I did install an AC outlet here, mostly for the TV there. My heater, my extra propane cook stove, and of course the all-important porta potty. Again, take a look at the backside of this cabinet. It had to fit perfectly, conform perfectly to the shape of the van walls. Like I say, after a lot of trial and error, I got it to fit perfect. I use earth magnets to close this all up, but just for an added safety feature, I like to use these accordion straps. The wall feature, that was a trial and error too. I looked at a lot of different things on the internet for lighted wall features, and they got a lot of them. Then I ran across these slatted ones that I saw that they wanted like $300 or $400 for, and I thought, well, heck, I could make something like that. So I just laid out a bunch of material into a design that I finally liked, glued and stapled them up, sanded, finished them. They came out way, way, way better than I thought. I'm using silicone strip lights too, by the way. Hidden, you can't see them until they're actually lit up. And there's no camper van, or no camper van is complete without having a lagoon table support system. These things are ingenious. I can raise or lower that to any height that I want. And then with another turn of a lever, right there, you can pivot it to any position you might need. If I am cooking inside here using the kitchen sink counter, I can pick it or use that as an extra prep area. The driver's side cabinet houses two very deep storage compartments. And the one you're looking at right there, I call that my entertainment section. Keep the current DVDs and CDs that I'm watching, along with my remote control and what have you. But yeah, the lagoon table support, a must-have in any kind of an RV, I think. Now here's the opposite side of the kitchen sink cabinet, where I have really nice storage compartments. One on top there, and an even deeper and nicer one right there. And I'm getting to all of this by still sitting on the sofa/bed. Of course, the passenger side cabinet, you saw that a couple times outside of the van. This is the one that houses the electrical setup. And you'll notice a lot of safety here. I got a fuse box, and each line that I'm using, each line is also fused. So a double safety feature there. To the left of that, another deep storage compartment. I've got more storage in this thing than my neighbor's $40,000 truck camper, factory camper that he purchased. Way more storage. And to be honest with you, I feel like I have more room in my e-cargo van than he has in this $40,000 camper. Everything is controlled, by the way, electrical-wise, from a very simple 5-switch control panel. I always know what level of battery I have. Reads it right there. I have a extra DC outlet, 5 switches. I've got an AC outlet, USB ports, way to charge phones and what have you. And the first 4 buttons actually control the 4 lighting zones. There are 4 lighting zones in here. Let me turn all the lights on just to show you what it looks like before I show you the zones. So this thing is not dark. Zone 1 is the first lighting zone as you walk into the van to the right. Zone 2 is the main wall feature light. I call it the main wall feature light. Zone 3, kind of a clever one, a little bit different. It's actually a reading light. Kind of a real nice one. Found that some time ago. Kind of bright to see it. Let me shut this off. It has a flexible neck on it so you can position it anywhere you want. Then zone 4 is I included 2 puck lights that when those are on, it completely lights up the sofa/bed area. So you got plenty of light in this thing. And I get the contrast that I was looking for. Look at that. Pretty special, huh? It's a nice feeling inside. You feel very warm and comfortable in there. Speaking of warm, that Max Air fan turned out to be a real plus. When you open this up, first of all, it creates a lot more light, during the day at least. It has a 10-speed motor on it, 10 different speeds. And you can run this so it pulls air from the outside in, or it takes the air from inside out, like an exhaust. And talk about quiet, I thought it was going to be real noisy. This is right above my head. You can't hear it. It's a whisper. And when you're not using it, just a simple matter of turning this dial, and it will seal up watertight. And a simple push of that lever, right there, locked it into position. I built this to my specific height and dimensions. When it's bedtime, I take those pillows and throw them out to the back. Take my sleeping bag, lay it out, and grab my regular sleeping pillow. I stretch completely out without my head or my toes touching either side of the camper van. If I want a little light entertainment, let's say, before bedtime, break out the remote control, fire up the TV. Even this was kind of a challenge. Didn't know exactly what size I wanted. Didn't want to go too big, too small. I actually cut out different sizes of what I called TV screens to find the perfect size. This is a 24-inch. It had to be both AC or DC driven, and it definitely had to have a built-in DVD-CD player. I found this one, and the sound is spectacular on this thing. Perfect distance from the couch to the TV, not too close, not too far away. I just really stumbled on this one. It was a great find. And I think today we're watching, yes, Showtime's Ray Donovan. If you've never seen that, it's a good program. But I doubt if you're going to be watching a whole lot of TV when you have days like today. Bright, sunny, beautiful, warm. Pretty special. And this thing is all closed up at night. Okay, again, you're not claustrophobic. You don't feel like you're in a dark cave. You feel like you're in a nice closed space. And I do like the camper van all lit up at night. Well, there you have it, friends. My boutique camper van reveal. Hope you enjoyed this little tour. Like I said, if you want to see a little bit more detail on how I framed all this and insulated it, that's in another video on this same channel. If you like these kind of projects, want to see more of them, don't forget to like and subscribe. And in the meantime, I'm Michael Young. I'll see you all down the road.